Good morning, everyone. We are now coming to the presentation on ecosystem. The entire presentation is based on the NCERT textbook. We have already learned a few ideas on ecosystem. Now we will take it further to different areas of the ecosystem. Now here I have shown, to recapitulate whatever we have learned, two diagrams. One, this is again a diagram of the artist's view, how we can represent a particular ecosystem. Here we have both the land ecosystem and the aquatic ecosystem. In the land ecosystem, we have a biological community in which we have animals, uh, a large number of animals may be there. We have shown that here. And these animals will be interacting between themselves for food and other materials. And they also interact with the environmental factors such as sunlight, temperature, land, and then other climatic conditions. That is one ecosystem. The second one, what is shown here, is the water ecosystem. It is a freshwater pond ecosystem. Pond will have a surface and the pond also will have a bottom when we go down in the depth. We find different organisms on the surface and we find different organisms on the bottom of the lake. All these things will interact with each other. This is just a recap. Here is shown another ecosystem, a smaller ecosystem, where only one type of organism may be seen, and this will be a desert ecosystem. In the desert, you do not find the green plants usually, and they're all dry plants, and the land will contain mostly sand, and they contain certain reptiles where they will be eating on some other organisms. That is one ecosystem. Now we come to the present clip. Will talk to you about the part 4 of ecosystem, that includes decomposition and energy. If you remember, we discussed four important functions of a ecosystem. One is the production, second is the decomposition, third is the energy flow, fourth is the fourth one refers to the food chain. So these four important areas we discussed. We take two today: decomposition and energy. We already had a small discussion on productivity, and also we discussed upon the first one, that is the production. Here I have shown and explained to you what is decomposition. Decomposition normally is expressed in a different word called detritus. Please look at this word, detritus. How to study that? Detritus. It simply means debris. Ecosystem present in debris, where the dead and decaying matter will be there. It will contain decomposing matter, and that will be decomposed matter will be converted into carbon dioxide, water, minerals, and nutrients. These are mostly inorganic. That means organic material which are dead and decaying will be converted into inorganic materials, and this takes place by means of detrivores. Detrivores refers to organisms which feed on dead and decaying organic matter. You know, in the ecosystem, many plants, animals may die and they start decomposing because of the environmental factors like heat, sunlight, all these things. And when once that happens, on that particular debris or detritus, there will many organisms like earthworm, bacteria, fungi, mushroom, and other protist organisms, they start living on that, and they will have a lot of interaction between them. Here is just a small diagram shown to you. This diagram, whatever you see the black color, it is the material that is already decomposed into a particular thing called humus, and here you find an insect. So you find many organisms living on that particular dead and decaying matter. Now the decomposition, as I told you earlier, is breaking down of dead and decaying organic matter into inorganic materials. Will happen in different steps. The first step is detrivorous organisms attack the dead and decaying matter. You must have seen on the land sometimes an animal dies that will take a long time to be composed into the inorganic material. You must have seen that. Now enzymes are released from these detrivorous organisms. When once the enzymes are released in that one, the process starts now. It has got one, that is fragmentation step, leaching step, catabolism step, humidification step, and mineralization step, and lastly comes what's called the humus. Let us just try to find out what they are. Fragmentation refers to breaking down the dead and decaying matter into simpler and smaller parts, either by physical method in which the organism may tear it away, or use chemical methods by means of enzymes. When once that is done, the smaller pieces becomes much more smaller, and then a process called leaching takes place. Supposing the dead and organic matter is there, then the rain may come, water may be there, and that will be taken away in the form of water to different places. Then catabolism is a process which talks about the destructive process. That means the organic matter that has been now fragmented will be acted upon by smaller organisms like bacteria and mushroom, or maybe fungi, where they start respiring. They take them as food, and inside the body there will be the metabolism, especially breaking down takes place in the process called respiration, and then in that respiration energy is given out. That is catabolism. Humification again refers to the same type of a thing, where the entire body that is the entire the decaying matter that has been taken place by the thing will start becoming much more smaller and smaller in thing. More enzymes act upon that, and ultimately they will be reduced to the inorganic minerals, maybe like nitrogen, maybe like phosphorus, etc. All these things are released, and then lastly comes a black mass of material. Supposing you have taken, for example, here an organism like, say, a tiger is dead, and on the tiger a number of organisms will be acting upon that, and they go through all the process. Ultimately that becomes called the humus. Humus is nothing but a black hard material containing large number of nutrients. So on the land sometimes you may find a lot of humus present in the system. You may not find these things in the cities, but when you go to the forests and other areas, you find humus. Now, as I said, detritus, see how to read detritus, meaning debris. It has got its own food chain, and that food chain, just a representation is given here. You can see that it contains bacteria, it contains some protozoa, and along with that there will be some things like earthworm, nematodes. These are all the various organisms which will be operating on the dead and decaying matter, and sometimes on this dead and decaying matter There may be some arthropods. Some insects may also feed on that. Some insects are shown here. Sometimes these insects are eaten away by the birds, and so like that, the detritus food chain or the decaying matter may have its own connectivity with other organisms to form the food chain. We will be able to study the food chain in the next clip. Now, the decomposition of the dead and decaying organic matter depends on mostly climate. If it is a warmer climate, decomposition becomes very fast. The nature of organic matter. What kind of organic matter? For example, a log of wood, a big plant, takes long time to be converted into humus. A small organism like a leaf may take very less time. And this depends again on the type of detrivores, that is the organism that is acting upon the dead and decaying matter. So just to complete this section here, detritus food chain refers to the link between various organisms on the dead and decaying matter. Now we come to the next concept called the energy flow. This is a very important concept that you try to understand this. Energy flow refers to the different levels, different ways in which the solar energy that is captured by the green plants in the form of producers, in the form of organic food, will flow from one organism to other organisms in the biosphere, and that is called the energy flow. There are two diagrams where I am showing the pointer here, that is the sun. Sun will send the energy in the form of sunlight. You know, sunlight contains infrared, white LED or the visible LED, and the ultraviolet. Only one part of it, called the visible light, is useful for our purposes, and so the energy flow is only one side, that is called unidirectional. From sun it goes to producers, it goes to consumers, to secondary consumers, to tertiary consumers, and back to the source. Now here the same thing is shown in a different way. From sun it goes to producers. Producers may lose a large amount of energy during respiration or catabolic process in the form of heat. And then from producers it goes to consumers, that is the which feed on the plants, and again they lose heat, and then consumers may go to decomposers, heat is lost, energy is lost, and then food will become the inorganic matter. In any way, the heat is lost, that is energy taken from the sun is also going back to sun in the form of heat. Here I have shown energy flow with a slightly different explanation. Energy flows in one direction only, that's called unidirectional. What is that energy flow? We say source to sink. When you say source here, source refers to solar energy or the energy from the sun. Sink again refers to the same thing. Energy, after cycling through various organisms, goes back to the sink. That is the law of the thermodynamics in physics. And from the sunlight, we have a large amount of energy is trapped in the solar radiation. We take only one part of it, that's called PAR. It's a short form for photosynthetically active radiation is less than 50%. So whatever the energy comes from the sun, we will use only less than 50% for the primary activity called the production. Autotrophs or the green plants capture only 2 to 10% of this PAR, and then they produce food rich in energy. So that means from the solar energy, now energy is captured in the autotrophs in the form of food. Now this energy captured in the food may enter the biosphere. How do they enter? They enter in the form of food chain. A very minute amount of solar energy sustains the biosphere. We got a very, very small fraction of solar energy required to sustain the living beings on the biosphere. The energy from the solar energy is transferred from source, that is sun, to sink, that is biosphere, in different ways, and this flow of energy follows the two thermodynamic laws, number 1 and 2. What they are, you can read from your textbook. Now, producers, that is green plants, capture solar energy and pass it on to herbivores, organisms eating only plants. Herbivores then transfer that to carnivores. Herbivore, that is some small plant-eating animals, are eaten by other animals that are called carnivores. Again, in the carnivores may be eaten by other carnivores. Like that, the entire biosphere consists of the chain of energy transfers, and that is called the energy flow. And during each time the organisms respire, they release a small amount of energy that again goes back to the source. This is the concept of energy flow. I request you to read your textbook further to understand it in a much more better. Now, food chain refers to the connectivity or the relationship between the organisms in any given ecosystem. We can find two large food chain systems. One is called grazing food chain. Grazing food chain refers to the food chain on the land. DFC, detritus food chain, refers to the decomposer food chain. These two are different ones. Remember these things. Now, producer to consumer, producer and consumer, they establish links in different ways with reference to food, and they form what's called the food chain and then into food pyramid. Now here, where the pointer is shown, I have shown you a food pyramid. This pointer where I am showing now is called the food web. If you look at the food web, it shows at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different types of arrows connecting different animals. Let us take up one simple example here. Let us take up this particular area. There are plants here. These plants are eaten by the grasshoppers. These grasshoppers are eaten away maybe by some other organism like a small bird. And this happens, this is one food chain, that is producer is connected to what's called the primary consumer, where only they eat the plant material. Herbivores are eaten by maybe some animals like birds, and these birds may be eaten by some other organisms, and then ultimately that organism is called the secondary consumer, and that secondary consumer may be eaten by the final one called the tertiary consumer. So this is in the apex. That means the animals like lions, tigers, they are all in the apex. They eat different types of organic matter. They cannot eat plants and live. So this type of connectivity between various animals is called the food chain. When you connect the food chain into, you take the different examples and connect them, it becomes what's called the food web. So food web is nothing but a representation showing connectivity between primary, secondary and tertiary organisms. And then comes what's called the food pyramid. Food pyramid is again a artistic view of representing the whatever happens in the energy flow. At the if you think you write a small diagram in the form of a triangle, the triangle will contain the base. In the base, we find in the food pyramid the product, the producer products. Whatever the producer has made will be seen here, and that will again get into different forms. That is the then fruits and other things are produced here, and then there will be little more smaller things where we find they will be in the third level of the servings, and then we find like that. So we find different ways of things that is happening. Sometimes it's called the trophic levels. In the let us take up the next picture so that I will. Now here I have shown the trophic levels. What do you mean by trophic levels? Trophic refers to food relationship in ecosystems based on food habits is called the trophic level. At least we find four important trophic levels in the ecosystem that is represented by means of a diagram here. That diagram, please study. The base of the triangle has got plants. That is the herbivores. They are the producers. These plants or herbs are eaten by the next level of the trophic level, that is the herbivores. That is the second level. Herbivores eat on plants and they live. Herbivores are eaten by predators, or it's called the carnivores. Different types of carnivores are present, and ultimately there will be one type of a carnivore that can only feed on the secondary consumers. So we can just remember, we can say we have the producer at the base of the pyramid, then we have the herbivores, then we have the carnivores, then we have the final carnivore at the end. So that is called the trophic levels. You should remember that. Four trophic levels, that is producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, and apex consumer. Now energy flows in only one direction, which I told you already. So please remember that energy flow is there. Only 10% of the energy received by one ecosystem or by one organism is passed on from one trophic level to other trophic level. That means whatever the energy captured here, from that 90% is consumed and only 10% goes to herbivores. From herbivores, they consume something. Supposing the herbivore, like for example, you are taking the herbivore as an example like a cow. From the cow, whatever it takes, it eats, digests and do all these things, and it will send only 10% of its energy in the form of its products like milk and then meat, etc. And that is the important thing you must know. And also energy flows from source, that is sun, to sink to organisms. Acknowledgement. I am very happy that a few diagrams are taken from the common creators. I am grateful to authors. I have taken a few concepts from the NCERT textbook, grateful to NCERT. From the Google, I searched out a few things. I am thankful to Google, and also to YouTube, which will be presenting it to you in the form of a